could have all the power in the world. 1-to-1 solo with Bonnie.
Would I f Bonnie for all the power in the world?
Yeah.
Absolutely, of course.
Oh my god. What did I just witness? This collab before GTA 6? Nah, I ain't having it. Bonnie Blue's back in the headlines, this time teaming up with none other than Andrew Tate for a podcast collab with Rob Moore. No one saw this coming, and it wasted no time getting weird. Right out of the gate, this interviewer hits Tate with, if it's not about money, but about power, would you with Bonnie for all the power in the world? And without hesitation, he says yes. Not because he wants to, not because he's attracted to her, just because it would get him power.
Would I f Bonnie for all the power in the world?
Yeah.
Absolutely, of course. I wouldn't f Bonnie for pleasure, because I don't want to have for pleasure. I probably wouldn't f Bonnie to have a kid, because I have a bunch of other women I can have kids with all due respect, less past. But if you were to give me some kind of incentive.
And Bonnie acts like she just won something, like that was a compliment. Like she feels like she became the main character because she would be used as a tool. He basically said, I'd do it if I had to. She's a chore. She's out here rebranding being used as empowerment, like getting turned into a hypothetical sacrifice for global domination is some kind of feminist badge. Tate even says right after that he wouldn't s with her for pleasure. He doesn't do meaningless s. He literally says is so low on his list that it's irrelevant unless it benefits him. She's not the reward. She's a step he'd reluctantly take if it gave him something actually valuable.
I help society out a lot.
How?
Do you see how many dicks I drain? How many balls I've been emptied out on my face? How many eyes I've taken and scooped it out?
And how does that help society?
Sex workers help, like, reduce rates by over 30%.
That sounds like a stat you just made up.
No,
Google it.
that's probably true. Mental health, it's good for mental health as well. It stops men themselves. It's an important part of the world.
Are you saying that because you had a webcam business?
I'm saying that because it's absolutely and utterly true.
So do you think you're a good role model for women?
I'm a clear example of what women have fought for years. Of
What?
taking control of your body.
Correct.
Being independent. I earn my own money. I don't rely on a guy. I'm
Girl
paid
power.
More. Exactly. I'm paid more than other
100%.
guys.
100%.
Do you think
She is a clear example of what women have been fighting for years. Absolutely correct.
And now they've
I'm not
got it,
going to
they're
sit here and
crying.
lecture you about God. I'm not going to sit here and no, that's all. She is a clear example of what women have been fighting for years.
Yeah.
Women believe that they can do whatever they want.
Bonnie sits there acting like she cracked the code, like using her body for money is some revolutionary flux. She calls it empowerment, says she's everything women fought for, independent, unapologetic, raking in cash without needing a man. And sure, she's loud about it, but she really thinks that she's correct.
But once again, what does it matter what I think? Rob, I've given up. Rob, I've given up trying to save the world. I've given up.
No, you
no, Rob. I've
No,
given
you
up.
haven't.
I've given up on and all this
No,
shit.
you haven't.
They attacked me with the Matrix. They keep throwing me in jail. I am now all for women empowerment. I think women should run around as many men as they want. I like what Bonnie's doing. She's getting the bag. She's getting rich. Most girls out here don't want to have. They just want to get bags and Instagram likes. Good. I'm a feminist, a pro-feminism. This is the world now. How the world's going to end up? Who cares about the future?
And Andrew throws gas on the fire by agreeing with her, but you can tell he's just mocking her. He basically says, yeah, this is what women fought for. This. All those marches, all that activism, decades of fighting for rights. So Bonnie could run an OnlyFriends and host questionable parties with hundreds of men and just her in the middle. That's the legacy. He doesn't say it to her face in a mean way, but it's obvious he's trolling. In his head, it's not women's freedom or equality, it's just chaos with glitter on top. He looks at Bonnie, proudly saying she's living her dream, and he plays along like, yup, mission accomplished. Women won, and now they're tired of being provided for, tired of stability, and this is what they're doing with all that freedom selling content, racking up and treating it like a political statement. At one point, Andrew also asks Bonnie if she votes, to which she responds she doesn't because she doesn't know what's going on.
Is that Bonnie has done no damage to society compared to giving the women the vote.
I've basically been a community worker.
Absolutely.
For example,
do you vote?
Not to be honest, I don't really know what's going on.
Okay,
in the world.
so do you vote?
No.
Okay, she's perfect. she's out here.
Life material.
She's not voting. This is the kind of women we need. This is done. This is fine. If we stop women, we take the women's vote away. If you said to me, Andrew, fix society, all the women can either vote or be like Bonnie. I'd be like, make them all like Bonnie, give the men the vote back.
Practically see his eyes light up. He's lost his mind in real time, like that was the best thing she could have possibly said. Forget policy or logic or literally anything that matters. She doesn't vote, and that made her perfect to him. That's where the bar is. He goes on this wild tangent about how this is the kind of woman we need. Not smart, not politically aware, just silent, submissive, and doing what men tell them. That's it. That's the dream woman in his head. He even said if he had to fix society, he'd rather take the right to vote away from all women than lose the Bonnie archetype. Fully serious. Like, yes, let's roll back basic rights because one girl doesn't care enough to Google what a prime minister is. And the way he said it wasn't even joking. It was like he truly believed the world would be better if women just stayed cute, clueless, and completely uninterested in anything outside their ring light. He sees her disinterest not as a flaw, but as proof she's above the noise. A kind of passive, decorative perfection.
All the women can either vote or be like Bonnie. I'd be like, make them all like Bonnie, give the men the vote back. We'll fix the whole country.
Even your daughter.
Yeah, why would she need to vote? I'm voting. Why would she need to vote when I'm voting? You're gonna vote against your father. What kind of world is that?
Then he drags his own daughter into it. Says she wouldn't need to vote if he's already voting. Like, this man actually believes women should have no opinions. They should just let the nearest man make all decisions for them while they post selfies and stay out of the way. His ideal woman is literally just Bonnie nodding along while the world burns. And Bonnie's laughing, giggling, playing into it as if this whole thing isn't a complete roast. She doesn't get it. He's not praising her, he's using her as a punchline. She's the poster girl for what he thinks women are when they've been of value.
They're all anyway. If you're gonna be no disrespect, you may as well be good at it. Get a media empire, get rich, let everyone know your name, and get paid. Why are you going out to the pub, getting drunk, and meeting a man who's funny and getting the toilet for free? Are you dumb?
They are, though. Women are stupid.
They're stupid. So Bonnie's just the smartest. She's the Wall Street banker of this whole.
Although these two have practically nothing in common, they somehow manage to find bizarre harmony on one particular point. They both think most women are stupid. Tate goes off about how modern women are out here hooking up and for free when they could be monetizing it, building an empire like Bonnie. His logic is, if you're gonna be out here doing that stuff anyway, at least get famous and rich from it. Otherwise, you're just doing it for laughs and bad Tinder dates. He calls it feminism's endgame and says it's basically what happens when men let women have too many opinions. Real charming. Bonnie doesn't push back. In fact, she kinda co-signs it. She basically says she's not like the average. She's smarter. While everyone else is messing around for free, she's getting that bag, stacking millions and running her name up. According to Andrew, men created this mess by being weak, giving women too much freedom and letting them have opinions or whatever. He thinks women don't really have power, they just use what men gave them.
I love that. And I also think it's educational. So I'm obsessed with it.
How's it educational?
You think about education at school. It's from a middle-aged teacher that's not been laid. And they basically say you have so you're probably going to die from an STD. There's no information. If anything, they should whip up one of my DVDs, put it on screen and show, look, that's how the enters the this is how you get a girl. There's none of that. So me having sex with them shows this is a woman's, yes, a woman's Andrew, not trans.
At this point, Bonnie starts going off about how her work isn't just for the money. It's like public service. She basically sees herself as this unofficial said teacher the world never knew it needed. According to her, she's out here doing God's work by showing men how to properly communicate, respect consent, and not be absolute disasters. And she even gets into logistics, talking about how she has security during group scenes, not to protect herself, but to keep the guys from swinging on each other if things get messy. So now she's not just the teacher, she's the camp counselor too. Very community-minded of her. She mentions how frustrated she is that women's contributions are barely mentioned in textbooks, which, fair enough. But it's a bit ironic coming from someone whose idea of historical impact is being the first person to make content sound like a TED Talk. Like, yeah, she does have a point, but she's delivering it while covered in and calling it activism.
You respect this profession?
I understand the profession. The profession's been around for a very long time. I respect the honesty, actually, what I said.
He actually defends Bonnie here, not because he's suddenly a work ally, but because he sees her as brutally honest and unapologetic, which is his whole brand too. He's like, at least she owns her choices instead of playing victim for clout, and calls out people who, in his words, pretend to be innocent just to flip the narrative later. He respects her because she's upfront about what she does and she's making bank doing it. Like in his world, if a woman's being shameless and profitable, that's somehow peak feminism. He throws shade at her critics, calling them simps again, of course, because apparently respecting women for being honest about their choices choices is only valid if he decides they're worthy.
Consent to touching you.
You can, yeah, you can touch it.
Can I go and do it, please?
I think you know where this about to go.
Thank you.
Forever the performer. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Good work.
Maybe we should do one for you on your knees.
No, I don't think so.
Then he goes on this tangent about false essay accusations. He claims some woman weaponized them for attention, Instagram clout, or even brand deals. Like, he's fully convinced that for some girls, saying Andrew Tate me is the new influencer starter pack. Again, he's not exactly bringing receipts, just vibes and bitterness. And of course, he drags out the old punching bag, simps. According to Tate, simps are the real villains. They're the ones enabling this whole soft society by listening to women, validating them, and generally being decent human beings, which in his book is apparently a crime. He literally calls simps more dangerous than actual criminals. Okay, bro. Tate starts blaming the West's downfall on people being too obsessed with and too emotionally fragile. He and Bonnie go back and forth about me, sugar bitches, rich men with side, like somehow that's the root of why families don't last and why everyone's broke. They start comparing cultures too, saying Western women are too dramatic and expect too much, while women in other parts of the world are supposedly just cool with their husbands having mistresses as long as there's a G-Wagon involved. Suddenly your rent crisis is linked to someone's account. Make it make sense. Through it all, Bonnie sticks to her script. She's happy, she's making money, and if people are mad about work, that's not her issue. Both of them act like they've figured out the secret to modern life, but really they've just mastered turning chaos and controversy into content. People in the comments didn't hold back, and honestly a lot of them seem to catch on to the weird power dynamic at play. One person wrote, Tate made the wise move here. He didn't come at her with his viral arguments, he just let the circus happen. Basically saying he sat back and let Bonnie prove his point for him. Another comment said, dude destroyed feminism without destroying feminism. Crazy. Then there were viewers who felt Bonnie completely misread the room. One person summed it up, Bonnie thinking Andrew was on her side, while Andrew was just using her the whole podcast to make up his point about today's world and feminism. To a lot of people watching, it didn't feel like a debate, it felt like a setup.